Andyan, Jam.
Yes.
Si Christine, ma'am. In.
Ay, parinig ako.
Yes.
Yes.
So, good afternoon everyone. So, for this afternoon, kami ang magre-report sa ating activity 5, which is entitled Stoy Geometry. So, for the objectives, first is to calculate the moles and grams of a substance. Second is to define stoichiometry. Then third is to understand the importance of mole ratio. Marinig niyo ako, guys.
Jam. So, for the computation, first is to convert the moles into grams. So, we have a 22.25 moles of ruthenium. Even is we have a 22.25 moles. Tapos, ano yung mass ng ruthenium natin? So, with the formula, moles of an element times atomic mass is equals the mass of the element. So, i-multiply lang natin para makuha yung grams ng ating ruthenium, which is 2,247.25 grams. Next, we have 8.378 moles of beryllium. So, i-multiply lang natin sa atomic mass niya, which is 9 grams per mole. So, we have 75.38 grams of beryllium. Next, we have 0.0195 moles of sodium. I-multiply lang natin siya sa atomic mass niya, which is 23 grams per mole. We have 0.35 grams of sodium. Next, we have 46.39 moles of xenon. Multiply lang natin siya sa atomic mass niya, which is 131 grams per mole. We'll have the answer of 6,077.09 grams of xenon. For the oxygen, we have 4 moles. Multiply lang natin siya atomic mass niya, which is 16 grams per mole. We have the answer of 64 grams of oxygen. So sa part 2 ng activity natin, we'll be converting the mass in grams into mole. So we have the first problem, we have 55 grams of lead. So
Wala si Majeda.
wait lang mo.
Ay, ako na wala.
Nag-ano. So ang gawin lang natin is i-divide lang natin yung grams sa atomic mass niya para makuha ang moles. So we have 55 grams of lead. I-divide natin siya sa 200 grams, which is the atomic mass of the lead. We'll have the 0.27 moles of lead. Next, we have 3 grams of calcium. Divide lang natin siya sa atomic mass niya. We'll get the answer of 0.08 mole of calcium. Next is we have 5.60 times 10 to the power of negative 5 grams of gold. I-divide lang natin siya sa 197 grams per mole para makuha ang mole niya, which is 2.84 times 10 raised to the power of negative 7. And then we have 0.935 grams of zinc. Divide lang natin siya sa 65 grams para makuha ang mole niya na 0.01 mole. Next, we have 0.0 0.065 grams of argon, divide lang natin siya sa 40 grams para makuha ang 1.63 times 10 raised to the power negative 4 moles para makuha ang ano niya, mole ng ating argon.
Sino mag-report dito, Madge?
Nika,
Ako daw.
Go na.
So, define stoichiometry. The word stoichiometry is derived from the two Greek words stoichion, meaning element, and metron, meaning measure. Stoichiometry deals with the calculation of masses, sometimes volume also, of the reactants and the products involved in a chemical reaction. This is done using balanced chemical equation.
Nika, wala si Nika. Nika?
Ako pa rin?
Oo.
Oh, last na 'di ba yan?
Oo, Nick.
Ay, sige. So, describe the importance of mole ratio in stoichiometric calculation. A balanced chemical equation shows us the numerical relationships between each of the species involved in the chemical change. Therefore, we can use these numerical relationships to write mole ratios, which allow us to convert between amounts of reactants and or products and thus solve stoichiometry problems. The concept of mole ratio in reaction stoichiometry problems are used as conversion factors from moles of reactants to another. The ratio is also used to show the balanced equation of the reaction occurring. For example, converting moles to grams. The amount over theoretical amount multiplied by 100.
So for the conclusion, stoichiometry is a section of chemistry that involves using relationship between reaction and or reaction to determine desired quantitative data. In Greek, stoichen means element and metron means measure. Thus, stoichiometry literally means the measure of elements. In a stoichiometry calculation, molar ratio is very important. Molar ratio states the proportion of reactants and product that are used and formed in a chemical reaction. Molar ratios can be derived from the coefficients of a balanced chemical reaction. So that ends our report on the activity 5, which is the stoichiometry.
Okay. Sige. So, thank you for that report. Do you have questions, class, about sa report nila? Wala?
None po, ma'am.
Aya lang. Actually, wala man to'y kurat nga ano no,
Ma'am.
na computation sa stoichiometry. That is very easy, class. You just have to convert grams to moles or vice versa, moles to grams. So ana lang, kambyo-kambyo lang siya. Then we have, actually we have one formula for that. Taan share please. Puntaan na pero.
Ma'am, sa isa lang po na ano, yung sa experiment 6 po yung may tanong ako, ma'am. Kasi sa calculator, good ma'am.
Ah,
Mag-iba yung, mag-iba yung, ano, good ma'am, yung power.
okay. Sige later, let's explain that one kung unsay nahitabo. Okay? But for activity number 5, this is part of stoichiometry. So, na-define nila Majeda yung stoichiometry. It's the measure of element, pero actually that's just not specific for element alone. So, any substance, it can be a compound. So, as long as ma-measure nato siya, under na siya sa stoichiometry. So, that's how important stoichiometry is. Given that we can predict the amount of either the reactant or the product as long as we know the equation. So in stoichiometry class, it is very important to balance the equation first before ka mag-proceed with your computation. But this time, itong activity 5 is actually just a practice for you. And ano lang ni siya, pauna, introduction. Practice in converting moles to grams and grams to moles. So walay kurat class, this is very easy. Char. So we have the same formula for the conversion. You just have to derive the formula. So unsang formula atong gamiton? Moles is equal to the weight of your substance divided by its molecular weight. So if compound ang given, then you have to use the molecular weight. But if it's an element, then syempre you have to use the atomic weight. Ang important thing is you really have to follow instructions, because I might give instructions like you have to round off the atomic weights to the nearest whole number or pwede to decimal point. Basta you have to read and follow the instruction. Okay? So again, walay kuratang ato ang formula. You just have to divide the weight. This is in grams. And divided by sa molecular weight. The unit for molecular weight or atomic weight is grams per mole. Okay? But if it's like the other way around, like we are looking for the mass or the weight, this is in grams, we just have to derive the formula. So, i-multiply lang na siya. This will become moles times the molecular weight. So, makancel ang moles din ha. Grams will be left. So, makuha mo na yung amount in grams. So, sa chemistry kasi class, when we're talking about the amount of substance, it's either we use the moles, that's the SI unit for the amount of substance, or we will be specific when it comes to its weight. We will be using the grams. So sometimes it will be in milligrams, but most of the time in grams. That is why the first activity for stoichiometry is the conversion of moles to grams and grams to moles. So question about this activity. Kaya lang? Did you get the same answer sa report nila Majeda?
Yes, ma'am. Kaya pa siya dito na part, ma'am.
Yes po, ma'am.
Kaya pa siya dito nga part. Okay, so okay, kaya pa siya dito nga part. So let's move
Ay,
on.
good ma'am. Kay ano, pag quiz na good ma'am, lisod.
Kung paano na ko siya gihatag sa activity nga, napod ako siya ihatag sa quiz ha. So, okay na ta. Let's move on sa activity number 6.